Solving linear equations containing fractions and decimals. For example, d divided by 3 equals 12. To get d by itself, we need to get rid of the denominator of that fraction. And to do that, we multiply by the denominator, and the denominators will cancel out. So 3 times d over 3, our 3's cancel out, leaving just d. But don't forget, you need to also multiply the other side of the equal sign by 3 as well, and that gives us d equals 36. Another example of an equation containing a fraction, 2x plus 3/4 equals 1. Again, to cancel out that fraction, we multiply that fraction by its denominator. But if we do that, we must multiply every term by that exact same value, both sides of the equal sign. And here the 4's will cancel out, leaving just the 3. So this gives us 8x plus 3 equals 4. Now we can solve for our variable by subtracting 3 first from both sides of the equal sign. That gives us 8x equals 1. And now finally divide both sides by 8, and we get x equals 1/8. Sometimes your fractions will have more than one number in your, or one term in your denominator. We still multiply the entire equation, both sides of the equal sign, by the entire denominator. Not just the q, not just the 6, but by q plus 6. Now here the q plus 6 will cancel out the entire thing, leaving just the 12. And on the other side of the equal sign, we have q plus 6. Now we can solve for q by subtracting 6 from both sides of the equal sign, and we end up with q equals 6. Another example with fractions. Here we have negative 1/4 x equals 9 minus 2/3 x. We have two fractions with two different denominators. We must find the least common denominator. The least common denominator of 4 and 3 is 12. So we are going to multiply every single term, both sides of the equal sign, by 12. Now here, on the first term, when we multiply by 12, the 4 reduces the 12 to a 3, leaving 3 times negative 1x, which is negative 3x. 9 times 12 is 108. And the last fraction, the 3, reduces the 12 to a 4, leaving minus 2x times 4, which is 8x. Now we can combine like terms by adding 8x to both sides of the equal sign, and that gives us 5x equals 108. These cancel out. And finally divide both sides by 5. 5's reduce out, and we end up with x equals 21 3/5. An example with decimals. If you don't like working with decimals, we can multiply that decimal by multiples of 10. So in this case, we have 2/10, so we multiply that by 10. Every single term, both sides of the equal sign. And that will give us 2x plus 40 equals 160. Now we can go about solving for x by subtracting 40 from both sides of the equal sign, and that gives us 2x equals 120. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals 60. The formula for completing one job when A and B are both working together. A's rate of work times time worked plus B's rate of work times time worked equals 1 completed job. Example, pipe 1 fills a tank in 6 minutes and pipe 2 fills the same tank in 8 minutes. How long does it take for both pipes together to fill the tank? Well, pipe 1's rate is one job or one tank over in 6 minutes times his time worked, and we don't know the time, so we're going to call it T for time, plus pipe 2's rate is 1/8, one job or one tank in 8 minutes times his time, its time T, we do not know the time, equals 1 completed job. So now we add the 1/6 T plus 1/8 T together, and if we would like, we can cancel out these denominators first by multiplying every single term by the least common multiple of 6 and 8, the common denominator. So multiply every single term, both sides of the equal sign, by 24. Here the 6 reduces out the 24 to 4. 4 times 1t is 4t. The 8 reduces the 24 to a 3. 3 times 1t is 3t. And 1 times 24 is 24. Combine our like terms, we get 7t equals 24. Divide both sides by 7 to get t by itself. And we finally end up with t equals 3 3/7 minutes. It takes 3 3/7 minutes for both pipes to fill the tank together. Simple interest formula. I equals PRT means I equals P times R times T. I is the interest earned. P is the principal, the original amount of money or the original value. R is the rate, always listed as a decimal. So if they give you a rate of 2%, we must change that to 0.02. And then finally, T is our time, and that is always in years. So if they give you months, you need to convert that to a fraction of a year. For example, 3 months would be 3 out of 12 months because there's 12 months in a year, or 1/4 of a year. For example, a $1,000 investment is made for 2.5 years at 6.25%. Find the amount of interest. Our interest equals our principal, the original amount, $1,000, times our rate as a decimal will be 0.0625, times our time, which is in years, 2.5, so no converting there because it is in years. And we multiply those all together. 1,000 times 0.0625 times 2.5 gives us a total of $156.25.